One small, sun-bright spoon of Amla can reshape your morning. Imagine a tiny jar on the windowsill, green light catching the glass, bright, tart, and a little bit like green apple, but sharper. Today, we'll make 3 gentle rituals from that little jar: a morning tonic, a tiny preserve you can spoon onto yogurt, and a cool hair rinse for scent and shine.
Good morning. Hello, listeners. I'm Fiona, and I'm so glad you're here. We'll move slowly today. Sensory moments, simple measures, and clear cautions, so this stays safe and pleasant for everyone. If you like small batch kitchen rituals, stick with us and consider subscribing so these quiet recipes find you each season.
Before we begin, picture the scent, something citrusy, a little resinous, almost like lemon peel pressed through leaves. That's Amla's personality. Over the next half hour, I'll tell you where to find it, how to tell a good one, and why people have kept it in jars for generations.
And I'll be here to break down the safe, practical bits, forms you might buy, what concentrate actually means, and when to pause and check with a healthcare provider. Let's start with a gentle portrait of the fruit itself.
Understanding Amla. Amla, or Indian gooseberry, is small and round, pale green when ripe, with a glossy skin and faint vertical ridges. When you press it, the flesh is firm and very tart. If you've had green apple that puckered your cheeks, you'll know the sensation. People use it fresh, dried, preserved, powdered, or candied. Each form keeps a different part of that brightness.
From a practical angle, fresh amla is bright and astringent. Powdered amla is concentrated and easier to store. Preserved amla, like pickled or sweetened jars, softens the tartness. If you're buying dried or powdered forms, check that the vendor lists only amla and maybe a preservative like citric acid. Avoid blends that hide the ingredient list. Nutrient-wise, amla is known in traditional use for vitamin C content and polyphenols, but we're focusing on culinary and sensory uses here, not medical claims.
Ripeness cues. Look for uniform pale green color, no soft spots or bruising. If it's too hard and deeply sour, freezing is a good storage strategy. Frozen amla keeps its brightness for months. If you see jars labeled Amla Preserve in a shop, choose ones from reputable makers with clear ingredient lists. Local Indian or South Asian grocers are often great places to ask about fresh seasonal amla.
A quick note on powdered amla. It's convenient for a tonic concentrate, but product quality varies. Cold processed powders retain more aroma. Heat processed powders may be milder. If you use powder, start small. Half a teaspoon in a concentrate and dilute to taste, because powders are concentrated.
Tradition and kitchen context. Amla has a long pantry history across South Asia. In many households, families preserved it with sugar or jaggery, or slow-cooked it with spices. Tart fruits were preserved historically because their acidity helped keep jars long through the year. The result? A spoonful of brightness that wakes up plain rice, dal, or a morning bowl of yogurt.
And those traditional ways have practical reasons. The tartness acts like an acidifier in a preserve, balancing sweetness and acting as a natural preservative when done in small, well-sanitized batches. That said, when we talk about preserves in this episode, we are staying modest. One tiny jar, low sugar, so it's kitchen craft, not commercial canning. That helps avoid preservation errors and keeps portions small so your digestion stays comfortable.
I love the image of tiny jars lined on a windowsill, catching the sun. That's part of the ritual, attention to small things. You'll find recipes where amla is simmered with spices like fennel or mustard seed, or with jaggery for a deep caramelized preserve. For our purposes today, we keep flavors simple, bright, tart, and lightly sweet, so you can use a spoonful anywhere.
Safe sourcing notes. Buy from sellers who label their jars clearly, or choose fresh fruit from a trusted grocer. If you see homemade preserves at a market, ask about sugar ratios and storage recommendations. And remember, if you're pregnant, nursing, on medication, or managing a digestive condition, start with a small taste and discuss regular internal use with your healthcare provider. We'll repeat that caution later when we discuss safety steps in detail.
Introducing the remedies. We chose 3 small, approachable rituals: a measured morning tonic you dilute and sip, a tiny jar preserve you can spoon onto breakfast, and a cool, well-strained hair rinse for scent and shine. These are sensory practices more than treatments, little ways to build a habit that delights the senses.
Who these suit? People who enjoy tart flavors and small, mindful practices. Who should take extra caution? Anyone with a sensitive stomach, reflux, or those on blood sugar-altering medications, because tart, concentrated fruits can affect appetite and digestion. If you fall into those groups, use smaller portions, dilute well, and check in with a provider before making this a daily internal routine.
Recipe. Step-by-step instructions. We'll go slow here. First, we'll read ingredient lists for all 3 rituals, then the equipment, and then step-by-step directions for making a single small jar of Amla preserve, plus the tonic concentrate and hair rinse dilution.
Ingredient list. Read slowly. For the Amla tonic concentrate, 1 tablespoon fresh Amla puree, or 1 teaspoon Amla powder. This makes about 15 to 30 milliliters concentrate. 1 cup of warm water to dilute when you drink. Optional, ½ teaspoon raw honey to taste. Use only if you tolerate honey. For the tiny Amla preserve, 2 to 3 medium amlas, washed and scored. 1 to 2 tablespoons sweetener. Choose raw sugar, jaggery, or maple syrup. A pinch of salt. Optional, 1/8 teaspoon ground fennel or cinnamon. For the gentle hair rinse, 1 to 2 tablespoons strained Amla infusion per 300 milliliters cool water, finely strained and fully cooled.
Equipment. A small pot, a fine sieve plus cheesecloth or a very fine tea strainer, a sterilized small jar, about 120 to 200 milliliters, a spoon, a small bowl for cooling, and a clean spray bottle or rinse bowl if you'll use the hair rinse.
Now, the steps. I'll number them. Pause between each so you can follow along if you're cooking in real time. Step 1. Prepare the fruit. If using fresh Amla, wash them, then score each fruit with a small cross on top, or cut into quarters and remove the seed. If using frozen, thaw and press out the flesh. If using powder, measure the amount in the ingredient list.
Step 2. For preserve, place the scored Amla and 2 to 3 tablespoons of water in a small pot. Bring to a gentle simmer over medium-low heat. You want the fruit to soften, not to boil furiously. Simmer for 10 to 15 minutes until the Amla collapses and a spoon mashes easily through.
Step 3. Strain carefully. Pour the softened Amla through a fine sieve lined with cheesecloth, pressing gently to extract as much puree as possible. Discard the seeds and fibrous residue. This keeps the preserve smooth and pleasant. You'll end up with about ½ a cup of puree from 2 to 3 medium fruits, depending on size.
Step 4. Return the puree to the pot. Add your sweetener. Start with 1 tablespoon. Stir and simmer gently, reducing for about 10 to 20 minutes until the mixture thickens slightly and glistens. It should coat the back of a spoon. If you like a looser preserve, reduce less. If you prefer jam-like texture, simmer a touch longer, but keep heat low to avoid burning.
Step 5. Flavor and finish. Add a pinch of salt and your optional spice now. Stir, remove from heat, and let cool slightly before transferring to a sterilized jar. This single jar will keep refrigerated for up to 1 week. Because it's a small batch with minimal sugar, we recommend refrigeration and quick use rather than room temperature storage.
Step 6. Tonic concentrate. If you used fresh puree, take 1 tablespoon of that puree, about 15 to 30 milliliters, and mix it with a little warm water to dissolve.
If using powder, stir 1 teaspoon of powder into about 15 to 30 milliliters of warm water to make your concentrate. Taste. Then dilute that concentrate into 1 cup of water to your preference. Start with the smaller dilution if you're new to tart flavors. Sip slowly in the morning as a bright pause.
Step 7. Hair rinse. To make a gentle rinse, use 1 to 2 tablespoons of the strained Amla infusion. This can be the liquid left over from boiling the fruit before you reduced it for the preserve, or a tablespoon of diluted concentrate. Mix that into 300 milliliters of cool water. Strain again through a fine sieve and test on a small patch behind the ear first. If there's no irritation after 24 hours, you can pour the cool rinse over clean hair, leave for a minute or 2, then rinse lightly with water. This is about scent and a light rinse, not a scalp medicament.
Storage and serving tips. Make only a small jar. This recipe yields about 1 small jar of preserve, so it stays fresh. Keep the jar refrigerated and use within a week. Tonic concentrate can be refrigerated for up to 3 days. The hair rinse should be used the same day or stored cold for no more than 24 hours. If you want to make a slightly larger batch, double the proportions, but keep the same cook and storage precautions.
Common mistakes to avoid. Overcooking on high heat, which can make the preserve bitter. Understraining, which leaves seeds and fibrous bits that can be unpleasant. And using too large portions of concentrate internally. Start small. If you experience stomach discomfort, stop taking it and consult a provider.
Optional sensory moment. If you have a spoonful nearby, pause, breathe, and notice the aroma, bright and a little resinous. Hold the jar in your hands and feel its warmth or coolness. This tiny ritual is about attention as much as ingredient.
Segment 5. Safety, cautions, and when to avoid. Important safety notes. Listen carefully. First, start with small portions. A tablespoon of preserve or a well-diluted tonic serving is plenty to begin. Fresh or concentrated tart preparations may upset sensitive stomachs if taken in large amounts. Second, topical hair rinses can irritate sensitive scalps. Always perform a Koch test behind the ear or inner forearm and wait up to 24 hours for any reaction.
Third, strain well. Poorly strained preserves can leave seeds or fibrous bits that are unpleasant to eat and could cause irritation if used topically. Use cheesecloth or a fine sieve. Press gently and discard solids. Fourth, if you're pregnant, nursing, taking medications, or managing a health condition, treat Amla as a flavorful pantry ingredient, not a treatment, and check with your provider before regular internal use.
We also recommend stopping use if you notice digestive upset, unusual skin reactions, or any new symptoms. We've intentionally kept this recipe small and low sugar to reduce risk. Again, this is culinary and sensory, non-medical, so consult a qualified healthcare professional for health-related advice.
I love that this recipe asks for a small attention rather than grand gestures. Put 1 tiny jar on your shelf. Spoon 1 bright taste into your morning. These small signals, warm hands around a jar, the first bright sip, help make a habit without pressure.
The takeaway: Amla offers a concentrated brightness you can fold into daily life in very small ways. Be curious, start small, and keep safety front of mind. If you try the preserve tonight, taste a spoonful tomorrow morning and notice how small rituals shift the feel of a day.
We'd love to hear about your tiny jar. If you make the preserve or try the tonic, send us a voice note or a photo. Subscribe to Earthy Remedies so you don't miss future small batch recipes and sensory rituals. Share this episode with a friend who likes quiet kitchen projects.
And if you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing now. It really helps us reach more listeners who appreciate gentle, evidence-minded, kitchen-centered wellness. Next episode, we'll explore a cooling hibiscus spritz, bright, red, and perfect for summer afternoons. Until then, listen to your body, trust the earth, and feel the difference.
Thank you for sharing this quiet half hour with us. Make something small, notice how it feels,
and we'll be here with another simple ritual soon.